Libra, my dear soul aligned with balance and divine beauty. There is a legal message coming toward you that will change everything. And it's not a threat, it's your release. A lawyer or official figure is about to contact you with news that ties directly to your destiny, finances, or unresolved spiritual contracts. You didn't click this video by accident. You were guided here. Whether you believe in divine timing, angelic synchronicities, or the magnetic pull of astrology, this moment was designed for you to hear exactly what needs to be heard. This is Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and you're about to receive a deep, spiritually led horoscope message crafted specifically for Libra, guided by divine wisdom, modern astrology, intuitive tarot, soul therapy, the law of attraction, numerology, and universal design. Now let me ask you this, Libra. Have you felt like something important is on its way back to you? Like a door that was shut too soon might open again? Have you had legal delays, financial blocks, or spiritual restlessness lately? If so, this message was meant for you. The cards have revealed a very clear vibration, a legal or administrative matter, something that may have felt buried, forgotten, or unfairly delayed is about to resurface, and this time, you will not walk away empty-handed. This is a message of divine justice. A resolution. A breakthrough. And whether it's a court case, an insurance release, an inheritance, or a delayed payment, the universe is not just whispering, it's delivering. A lawyer or legal messenger will soon reach out, and what you do next matters deeply. The energy around your 8th house is being activated, the house of contracts, legal settlements, power, and karma. Saturn and Pluto have shifted, and with them comes a wave of alignment that cannot be missed. I encourage you, Libra, take a moment and ground yourself. You've been patient. You've stayed quiet when you could have shouted. You've waited while others rushed ahead. But now, your name is being called. This is your time. Before we dive into the full reading, let me pause and express something important. Thank you. Truly. Your presence here is not only seen, it is honored. Every like, every comment, every subscription brings you deeper into this growing spiritual family we call Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your support empowers this work and makes it possible for messages like this to reach those who need them most. Now, if your heart feels even the smallest resonance with this message, take a moment to comment below and affirm your connection. Write, I'm ready for divine justice. Let the universe see your declaration. Let your words become a magnet for what's already yours. Libra, beloved soul. I ask you to stay with me until the very end of this message, because what the universe is revealing today isn't ordinary. It's sacred. It's precise. And you are ready. So tell me, what have you done in these past days that caught heaven's attention? Let's begin. Sometimes, clarity arrives not with thunder, but in a quiet message, one that lands softly but shakes the foundation of everything we've been waiting for. If you found yourself pulled into this reading, dear Libra, it's likely because something is finally starting to shift after a long period of silence. That pause you've been sitting in, whether it's been months or even years, is not a mistake. In astrology, delays often align with divine recalibrations, and right now, that recalibration has a name: Saturn. Saturn, currently retrograding through your 8th house, the sector of inheritance, debt, legal matters, and emotional contracts, suggests that what you are experiencing isn't just about paperwork or policy. It's about karmic closure. The contact from a lawyer or official figure is not random. It's symbolic. It's a real-world reflection of something deeper, your readiness to reclaim what you once thought was lost, delayed, or denied. What's so compelling about this moment isn't just the legal interaction itself. It's the timing. When Saturn is retrograde in the 8th house, it often stirs up unresolved matters around justice, those silent injustices that were never spoken out loud. It touches everything from mismanaged inheritances to misused power, from long-forgotten contracts to emotional debts still lingering beneath the surface. This lawyer, or messenger, becomes an earthly instrument for something larger, the restoration of your internal balance, your rightful ownership not just of money, but of dignity, of resolution. In tarot, the appearance of cards like Justice, Message, and Rayquaza, Wealth, together doesn't simply predict financial compensation. They speak of the restoration of truth. The Justice card in particular, when aligned with Kaminho, the Path, and Signal, says, your name is being spoken in places where your presence was once ignored. Doors are opening not because someone decided to let you in, but because the structure itself can no longer hold without your piece of the puzzle. This isn't a battle you have to fight anymore. In fact, one of the most important messages of this phase is surrender, not passive surrender, but conscious, empowered allowance. There are forces now working with you instead of against you. And the more you lean into the possibility that you're not being punished for past mistakes but being positioned for a long overdue blessing, the faster you'll feel that shift from fear to relief. Sometimes in life, the miracle isn't the check arriving or the legal document being signed, it's the moment before that, when you realize you no longer have to carry the weight alone. You don't have to explain why you were treated unfairly. You don't have to convince anyone that your value was overlooked. There's a kind of peace that comes when you know your name has been lifted into the right hands, and someone, somewhere, is working behind the scenes to make things right. This reminds me of the quiet ways faith works in our lives, not always through lightning bolts, but through a well-timed phone call, an unexpected email, a letter that feels like a key. And isn't that how grace often arrives? In small, timely nudges that remind us we're not forgotten. Even in the busyness of our daily lives, even when we stop praying out loud, something continues to respond to us. So if you're feeling uncertain, if you've grown tired of hoping for justice, let this be your gentle reminder. There are still forces that honor the truth, and some of them are moving now in your favor. You don't have to fight anymore, Libra. You just have to be ready to receive what is yours, not because you demanded it, but because it was always meant for you. Stay open, stay grounded. Because even though the messenger may come in the form of a lawyer, what's really being delivered is something far greater, something your soul has been waiting for. Let this moment unfold. Let yourself believe that this time, justice is not a distant concept. It's personal. It's yours. There's something incredibly quiet and powerful about the moment just before abundance begins to flow. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It often arrives in the form of relief, a soft exhale after a long season of spiritual holding. Libra, where you've been lately has not been a place of lack. It's been a place of preparation. The delay you've been feeling around money, compensation, or overdue resources wasn't meant to break your spirit. It was meant to shape your foundation so that when this release arrives, you know how to hold it with grace. Energetically speaking, when we talk about money finally moving, we're not just referring to dollars and decimal points. We're talking about energy that has been locked up emotionally, mentally, physically, now beginning to circulate again. The idea that what has been held back will now flow is more than a prediction. It's an invitation. The moment the energetic gate begins to open, your role isn't just to receive, it's to expand your capacity to hold more. More trust. More discipline. More joy. More freedom. From an astrological perspective, this is especially important for you right now because of how your chart is being activated. The houses connected to shared resources, compensation, legal wins, and collaborative wealth are glowing. But even more than that, they're moving. Saturn's recent slowdown has actually been helping you stabilize your self-worth, and now that he's ready to hand you the keys, you're being asked not only to unlock financial doors but to walk through them with integrity. We don't always realize this, but emotional resistance can block financial energy. When we carry fear about not enough or guilt about receiving, we unconsciously create delays. That's why now is the time to adopt a mindset of readiness. It's not about deserving. It's about aligning. You are already enough. You've done enough. There's nothing more to prove. And if you've been wondering whether it's selfish to desire financial stability, let me reassure you it's not. Wealth, when held by someone with heart, creates healing. Not just for you, but for those around you. And yes, there may be a check coming. A payout. A refund. A transfer. A financial gift. But the real gift is the internal shift the moment you stop feeling like you have to earn love, earn support, or earn peace. You were always worthy. Now life is just catching up with that truth. There's a simple practice I often recommend during moments like this. Surround yourself with colors that reflect your intention. For financial healing and flow, green restores the vibration of growth and trust. Gold or warm amber tones invite abundance and affirmation. You don't have to overthink it, just let these colors into your space, your wardrobe, even your phone screen. It's not magic. It's alignment. And if you've ever felt forgotten, if you've ever looked at others receiving and wondered when it would be your turn, let me gently remind you, your turn isn't coming. It's here. Right now. You're not late. You're not behind. You're arriving at the exact moment when everything is ready to meet you with open arms. So take a deep breath. Let go of the tension that says you have to fight for every inch. You don't. This is not a battle. It's a blessing. Let it come. Let it find you. And if it resonates with you right now, speak it into existence. Comment below, money flows to me easily and with love. Let your words be a signal to the universe that you are no longer closed off to receiving. That you are, at last, open. When change starts whispering through your life, it rarely begins with grand announcements. More often, it arrives as subtle resistance, plans falling through, communication breaking down, or that quiet internal voice saying, "This no longer feels right." Libra, you know balance better than most, and when your scales start to feel uneven no matter how hard you try to keep things steady, it's usually not a personal failure, it's a sign. Something within your frequency has shifted, and the space, people, or patterns that once aligned with you may no longer be able to meet your new vibration. From an astrological lens, transitions like these often show up when Uranus or Pluto is active in your chart, pushing you to evolve out of old identities, roles, or environments. But this shift isn't about destruction, it's about alignment. The cards pulled especially path and signal point to a pivotal intersection. You are being redirected. And sometimes that redirection feels like loss or discomfort on the surface, but in truth, it's divine design urging you towards something more fulfilling. The idea isn't just to leave something behind, but to step toward a space where your growth can breathe again. The signs may already be showing up around you. Repeated tension in relationships. A job that once felt purposeful now feeling restrictive. Emotional exhaustion after simple conversations. These aren't random irritations, they are energetic signals. And once they begin, it's usually a matter of when, not if, you'll need to choose differently. The discomfort is your soul letting you know that your environment is no longer nurturing your expansion. It's in these moments that decision becomes sacred. Not rushed. Not reactive. But intentional. Choosing to move on doesn't mean you're ungrateful for the past. It means you've outgrown it. And honoring your new frequency doesn't require justification, it requires trust. Trust in your instincts, in your timing, and in the life waiting to meet you once you make space for it. There's a story I often think about, one that speaks to the quiet power of letting go. A woman in Brazil had been working in a high-pressure corporate job for years, feeling the weight of exhaustion and misalignment. She kept ignoring the inner nudge to leave until one night she dreamt of her mother, who had passed away. In the dream, her mother simply told her, "Now is the time." The next day, the woman gave her notice with no clear plan. Weeks later, she met someone who would end up anonymously investing in her dream, opening a floral studio that now thrives and fills her life with beauty and peace. Was it divine intervention? Perfect timing? Maybe both. But more importantly, it was a moment of courage, of listening to that inner shift and acting on it. For you, Libra, this moment might be similar. You don't have to know exactly what comes next. You just have to know what's no longer working. And when you make the space, life has a way of meeting you in the unknown. One gentle practice I recommend is writing down what you're ready to release, not because you need to control the outcome, but because it helps you affirm your willingness to move forward. Name what you're letting go of. A job. A belief. A role you've been playing for too long. And then trust that the act of naming it is the beginning of releasing it. If this resonates, take a breath and let yourself acknowledge it. Then write in the comments below, "Today, I choose to let go." Let the universe witness your decision. Because once you choose alignment, everything else will begin to shift around you. Healing rarely arrives in a flash of revelation. More often, it comes slowly, in layers, through the quiet unraveling of past attachments, through the unexpected resurfacing of someone you thought had been long forgotten, or through the realization that your heart is finally ready to love differently. Libra, this part of your journey is not about reopening old wounds. It's about giving yourself permission to close them with care, grace, and finality. You may find someone from your past returning, not to restart the story, but to help you finish a chapter that was left unresolved. The energy in your chart right now supports this kind of emotional release. With Venus influencing your house of relationships and the Cups cards dominating your reading, you're entering a time of deep emotional realignment. That doesn't mean drama. It means peace. It means choosing not to chase love, but to welcome it when it shows up in its healthiest form. Sometimes closure comes disguised as a conversation you never thought would happen. Other times, it arrives in silence when you finally stop wondering why someone left, and instead, begin focusing on what you've learned since. This is the beauty of emotional maturity, the recognition that not all people are meant to stay, but all connections leave us with something valuable, something worth understanding, then releasing. From a self-healing perspective, this is your opportunity to shift from seeking answers outside of yourself to listening inward. If you've been looking for clarity about a certain relationship, whether romantic, familial, or even a friendship that faded, this is your cue to step into gentle reflection. Write the letter you were never able to send. Look through old photos, not to reminisce, but to witness your growth. Then, if it feels right, let them go, perhaps through a small ritual like burning the note or burying a photo. These acts aren't about erasing the past. They're about acknowledging the role it played and freeing your heart to move forward, unburdened. And maybe, just maybe, love is coming again, not in the form you expected, but in a softer, more stable way. The kind of love that doesn't chase or perform, but shows up quietly and stays consistently. The kind that doesn't trigger chaos, but invites calm. If this is what you've been longing for, know that it begins with how you love yourself first. Being present with your own emotions, allowing them to move without judgment, is the most powerful invitation you can send to someone who is truly meant for you. There's something beautiful in learning how to love without needing to be needed. In allowing yourself to be seen as you are, rather than who you think you have to become for someone else. This is the kind of emotional healing that shifts timelines. This is what opens the door to authentic connection. Think of reconciliation not just as reconnecting with another person, but as a reconnection with your own heart. When you stop carrying the pain of past misunderstandings, you make space for new stories to be written. Ones rooted not in fear, but in presence. In peace. In freedom. If you're ready to take that first small step toward emotional freedom, write in the comments below, "I choose peace over the past." Let it be your gentle declaration. Because healing isn't about forgetting, it's about releasing. And love, real love, begins the moment you no longer feel the need to chase it. Not every breakthrough begins with action. Some begin in the quiet space between thought and belief, in the realm of imagination, where the soul rehearses what the heart dares to hope for. Libra, you've been walking a long path of patience and alignment, and now, the universe is asking you to take one more gentle step, not with your feet, but with your mind. Because before any blessing arrives in the physical world, it must first be accepted in your inner world. The power of imagination isn't a fantasy, it's a frequency. It is the energetic blueprint of your future reality. What you picture with clarity, what you feel with conviction, begins to organize itself around your life like magnets snapping into place. From a cosmic perspective, imagination is not wishful thinking. It is directional energy. And you, Libra, are being asked to point it toward your freedom, your breakthrough, your abundance. Numerology whispers to us in this phase. The energy of the number 7 surrounds you now, the number of divine endings, of spiritual completion. Whatever cycle you've been walking through is preparing to close. And what follows? The energy of 3, creativity, rebirth, expansion. It's a powerful combination, the kind of energetic reset that invites you to dream without guilt and to imagine without limitation. Sometimes, the simplest practices hold the most transformative magic. Try this. Close your eyes. Imagine your phone ringing, your heart racing a little as you answer. On the other end of the line, A calm and professional voice says, "Congratulations. The decision has been made. Your funds are being released. Everything is approved." Let that feeling rise: relief, gratitude, possibility. Hold it. Feel it move through your chest, your breath, your posture. That moment, real or imagined, is the energetic imprint that aligns you with what's to come. There's no need to force or fake the emotion. Simply allow yourself to believe, for even a few moments, that everything you've been waiting for is already finding its way to you. When you imagine with purpose, you're not escaping reality, rewriting your relationship with it. You're creating a path for life to follow, with your mind as the compass and your emotion as the engine. I've heard stories from many people who practice this kind of intentional imagination. One woman, burdened with delayed compensation for months, began to journal every night. "Thank you for releasing my funds. Thank you for honoring my work." At first, it felt silly. But within weeks, things began to shift. Emails moved. Approvals appeared. Her journal became her timeline of unfolding. Her thoughts, the soil. Her faith, the seed. You don't have to be perfect to receive. You don't have to be fearless. You only need to believe it's possible long enough for momentum to take over. Just like we water a plant before it breaks the surface, your dreams need nourishment before they manifest. And that nourishment is your focused thought, your willingness to imagine your life as whole before it looks that way. If there's a storm you've walked through recently, take a breath. The worst of it is behind you. And even if you can't yet see the full rainbow, trust that it is already forming on the horizon. Imagination, when paired with alignment, becomes the bridge between what is and what can be. If your heart is ready, try this simple declaration in the comments: "I see my breakthrough. I feel it. I welcome it." Speak it not as a question, but as a claim. You're not just hoping for a miracle. You're making space for it. If you've made it this far, Libra, I want to take a quiet moment to honor that. Not just your presence, but your willingness to listen deeply, to sit with possibility, to lean into a message that may have stirred something old inside you, or maybe awakened something new. Everything you've heard today wasn't just information, it was alignment. Not coincidence. Not luck. This was the right message, at the right time, for the right soul. You've been standing on the threshold of change for longer than you realize. And while the universe may be offering the open door, only you can choose to walk through it. Whether it's accepting that overdue financial reward, making a decision to finally leave what's no longer aligned, or softening your heart to receive the kind of love that doesn't ask you to shrink, every breakthrough begins with a moment of choice. And that choice begins within you. So let me ask you something. What if this wasn't just a reading? What if this was your confirmation? What if the call you're waiting for, whether from a lawyer, a friend, a new opportunity, is already being prepared behind the scenes, simply waiting for you to believe it's possible? Are you ready to open the space for it? Are you willing to stop clinging to what's falling away so that your hands are free to receive what's coming? So many of us live our lives waiting for something big to change on the outside before we feel permission to shift on the inside. But what if it's the other way around? What if the inner shift you commit to today is the spark that flips your entire reality? What would happen if, right now, you closed your eyes and simply whispered, "I am ready. I receive"? Would anything change in your posture? Your energy? Your breath? Try it. Even for a moment. Libra, this journey you're on is not one you walk alone. There are invisible hands guiding you, quiet miracles unfolding beneath the surface, and a timeline aligning in your favor. But the truth is, no one, not even the universe, can walk your path for you. You are the one who activates the magic. You are the one who anchors it into form. And that's why your role here is more powerful than you think. Not as a passive receiver, but as a conscious participant. You are the one who sets things in motion through your vision, your intention, your yes. So if this message resonated with you today, I encourage you to take a small but powerful action. Leave a comment below and write, "I open my heart to divine justice and miracles." Let that be your declaration, not just to me, but to yourself, to life. Let it be the beginning of your alignment in motion. And if you know someone, maybe a friend, a sibling, or a quiet soul you love who needs this message too, share it with them. Sometimes, all it takes is one sentence, one sign, to help someone step into their own healing. Before you go, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. Every like, every share, every comment fuels the mission of Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and allows me to continue bringing these deeply personal messages into the world. You are part of this family now. And your presence here means more than you know. So until next time, stay open. Stay present. Trust the whisper that brought you here. Because the moment you said yes to this message, something began shifting. And I can't wait to see what happens next.